Hey, Slash I do Buckaroos. How the heck are ya? You know who I am. I know who you are. We can all see each other. That's disturbing, is it not? That's rather disturbing, Tom. I gotta tell you. anyways, I digress. Oh, mercy. So there, Carter. Other things going on in our society these days. I don't know that it just seems so hard for some folks just to be kind. Adjust my camera there slightly. There we go. I know, I'm not really here, just trying to create a mood, man. Sometimes it's hard to tell until I actually get it on there. Anyways, so I've got one here from Minoka Brewing Company out of Wisconsin. They're doing some really nice stuff, but on top of the fact that they're doing some incredible beer, is I like what they're about, right? I like what they stand for. I like that they're about inclusiveness. And I like that they're just decent people. And that's become an issue these days, is that there's just been a lot of hatefulness just for the sake of being hateful. Some people have just, or some people just don't have the ability to be kind. I feel we're breeding a society of sociopaths when we've got people saying that empathy is a bad thing. Well, if you don't have empathy, you're a sociopath. So you can try to spin it as, well, we just want to take care of ourselves first. But no, if you don't have empathy, if you don't have the ability for empathy, you're a sociopath. And I just don't know, again, I just don't know why it's so hard for us all just to be kind to each other. We live in a society where bullying has become normalized because we elected a leader who bullies everybody he comes in contact with. And as a society, we've said that is now okay. Yeah, man, that's good. So this is more of a, let me show you that beer. It's closer to a West Coast style of IPA more than any others, but I don't know that it even falls directly in that particular category. It is just done extremely well. A lot of big citrus up front. You might even find some tropical fruit notes. I feel like I'm getting some pineapple, some mango in there, but yeah, a lot of big citrus, a lot of orange zest, some grapefruit zest in there. It's just a beer that's done extremely well. If you have any comments, comments, please put it up there. I will answer most, unless you're just being a complete asshat. Then I'm not going to give you a platform. As I've said earlier, just be kind. If you want to ask an honest question, I will give you an honest answer. But if you're going to be hateful just for the sake of being hateful, no, I'm not going to give you a platform. So here's a whiskey that a friend brought to me. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. It's called Cooper's Craft Barrel Reserve. I'm going to read a little bit here, then you're going to kind of figure out what it is. But Cooper's Craft Barrel Reserve takes this very distinctive flavor from barrels that have post-char. Can't read that word there. Post-char chisel. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading that font. Post-char chiseled interiors. Anyway, bottom line, it's 100 proof whiskey. It is very nice, but I'm going to read something here then to help you kind of figure this out. Our chiseled barrels have been handcrafted by our master coopers to deliver a bold and complex Kentucky bourbon. Here's the thing. They go a long way around the barn to saying they're not really a distillery. It's one of those label bourbons, but nevertheless, it is good. It is done well. And the one thing I like about it, it's one of the few bourbons that really showcase the barrel, right? Cooper's Reserve, Cooperage. Yeah, it's really about the barrel. They're trying to tell you the barrel means something. The barrel means a lot. Have I had better bourbons? Yeah, absolutely. But it is good, especially for the price point at about 40. Let me pour just a little here. Yeah, red's about 40. So for the price point, it is really good. But here's the thing. For me, I really like it because, again, because it really showcases the cooperage, right? It really showcases those barrel notes. And I love those big barrel notes. But if you like a softer bourbon, this probably won't be for you. But I'm an old school guy who grew up drinking very certain things. And when I say that, I mean, dad was a bourbon drinker. So my dad was born in 22. Gives you an idea how old I am. But dad kept 3 bourbons or 3 whiskeys in the house. Let me say that. Because the second one said, well, that's not bourbon, Tom. Dad kept 3 whiskeys in the house. It was Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, and Wild Turkey. Jim Beam was his everyday, I'm just going to have a drink whiskey. Jack Daniels was, I had a great day, I'm feeling good about myself whiskey. Wild Turkey was his, things are not, I just want to get hammered whiskey. Sometimes the thing I was about to say, it's my things aren't going well whiskey, but that's not always the case. Sometimes those things are going extremely well whiskey. But that's what Dad always had in the house, those 3. So I started off a bourbon drinker. In my 30s, I became an Irish whiskey drinker. And then over the last few years, I've gone back to bourbon, especially American whiskeys, because there's so many incredible small distilleries right now. And then you have several of these label whiskeys, right? Some are great, some not. For me, I'm just looking for good for the price point, right? When I buy a label whiskey, actually a friend picked this one up for me, but when I buy a label whiskey, I'm thinking, well, is it worth that particular price point? If I'm looking at everything available at this price point, does it fit that bill? This one does, actually. They don't give you the mash here, and I'm not surprised they don't, because they talk extensively about the barrels being used. Oh, man, that is good. But maybe that's what I like about it, though. I like an aggressive whiskey. So maybe it might be, some might say, well, it's maybe not the smoothest. It kind of depends on how you frame it yourself. But there is a lot going on here. It is a rather easy drinking whiskey, especially for that 100 proof. Not as sweet as you might expect it to be. And maybe that's another reason why I like it. A lot of these bourbons tend to be overly sweet, which favors folks 40 and under. Without trying, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to be, that's the word I'm looking for. Not trying to be overly pretentious here, but yeah, I feel like younger folks are looking for a sweeter whiskey. That's why a lot of the under 40s kind of gravitates towards the wheated whiskeys. They're a little softer, a little sweeter. Most of us older guys, not all, but most of us older guys tend to like a traditional bourbon that uses rye as a secondary because we like a real whiskey, right? We want to taste some stuff. So originally, that's why rye was used to balance the sweetness of the corn. Wheat doesn't do that. Wheat doesn't balance the sweetness. Wheat just softens the body and actually adds to the sweetness. So if you like a sweeter whiskey, those wheated bourbons are fine. But for me, yeah, I like I like a little bite. which is why over the last 5 years or so, I've really gravitated more towards rye. Kind of moved from, I do like bourbon a lot. Don't get me wrong. I still buy mostly bourbon, but I do buy a lot of rye because I do like those big, bold notes that rye has to offer. Oh, goodness, that is delicious. Yeah, I mean, again, you got to look at the price point. There was a period of time there, and it still may be in your neck of the woods, it's not here anymore. But there's a time where you had this $25 wheated bourbon that was on allocated list. So many folks were selling it for $75, $100, and folks were buying a $25 bourbon for $100 because you have these folks convincing them that's what they had to have. Well, I mean, if you don't have a mind of your own, I mean, if you're a lemming, yeah, do it. But spend $100 for a $25 bourbon. I don't care. I just won't do it. And I've been chucked out of a couple bourbon groups locally here because I've been very vocal against secondary markets. Secondary markets are the worst thing to happen to whiskey. They're killing it. They're making a lot of money, but they're killing the progress. Let folks buy what they're going to buy. Don't sell a $25 bourbon for $75 or $100 just because you can. Try to have a heart. Try to be decent. And that, again, back to what we're talking about is, we become a country of greed. We become a country that doesn't care about anybody but itself. And I would say I'd like to get us back to what we were, but I don't know that we were ever where I would like to think we once were. When they say, let's take America back, I say, back to what? Back to sweatshops? I mean, how far back do you want to go? Back to sweatshops? Back to child labor? How far back do you want to go? Back to where women couldn't have bank accounts? Back to where being gay was illegal? I mean, tell me, how far back do you want to go? Be specific, because don't just say things in general. I want to know exactly where you are, or if I want to keep talking to you. That's why I'm asking these questions. Do I need to keep having this conversation? Because folks will speak in generalities when they really mean certain things. So make them admit what they're about. It's about racism. It's about sexism. It's about misogyny. But they don't like those words specifically. That's what they're about, but they don't like you saying those words, man. Anyways, I digress. Back to the whiskey. I do like it. I don't have a fundamental issue with label whiskeys, as I like to call them. Some are better than others, but yeah, there are some, especially if they have a celebrity name on them. Some are more about a story than actual quality of the whiskey. So you got to be careful. Again, I go back to the price point. Look at the price point. Look at what you're willing to spend. That's what I do when I go someplace. So this is what I'm going to spend today. Let's see what's the best value for that money. But a lot of folks don't do that. They'll look at the wall and say, okay, somebody said I have to have this one, so I'm going to buy this one, without really doing any research on my own. But do research on your own. Look up reviews. And spend whatever you want to spend at the liquor store, but never, ever, ever buy the secondary market, because those folks are parasites that are taking advantage of you. I had somebody once tell me, we were talking about the price issue of secondary markets. He says, well, I understand that, Tom, but if you never buy anything on the secondary market, there's things you're never going to try. I said, I'm okay with that, because I just labeled off 6 whiskeys that are local to us here that you haven't tried. You have the ability to, because you live here in Missouri, but you haven't tried them. And I have. I have tried all of these whiskeys that are local to me. And you want to tell me you're an expert, but you haven't tried all of these are local, but you're selling these products to folks for more than you know it's worth. Yeah, I'm okay with not having some things. I'm going to buy what I can buy. And I'm always going to buy local. And if I can't buy local, I'm going to buy small. Support all the small craft distilleries that you can. And forget those big guys. What irritates me the most is you've got these craft beer guys that will preach to you ad nauseum about buying small, about buying craft beer. But if they're also into whiskey, they're only buying those big names that everybody knows. They won't take that same philosophy to whiskey. And I had one person tell me, well, my issue, Tom, is that big name whiskey is X amount of dollars. The small distiller whiskey is a little bit more. So why would I do that? I said, you're in a craft beer brewery right now. You're paying more for a beer because you know it's better. I mean, I shouldn't have to say anymore. You're here buying this beer because you know it's better. It's the same with the whiskey. But for whatever reason, they cannot make that same distinction. So what do I do? Nobody cares, Tom. What I like to do is, I mean, I buy as small as possible. I do buy the big guys upon occasion, but I will tell you that looking at my bar cart, the only big guy stuff I have is stuff that was given to me at my birthday party. There's nothing that I bought other than this Cooper's because it's a label whiskey. But other than, if you want to count that, I wouldn't, but just throwing that out there. Other than that, no, everything I have is small distillery stuff. I will admit there is a few things that I want to buy, and I probably will at some point. But again, just try to buy as small as you can. Try to buy as local as you can. Those guys have to charge more for their stuff because they're paying more for the products. They're paying more for the ingredients that go into that beer or whiskey. That's why you're willing to pay more for craft beer if you're a beer drinker. You need to carry that same attitude into whiskey. If you're a whiskey drinker too, carry that same attitude when you go into a craft distillery. Yes, it's going to cost you a little bit more than buying that crap off the shelf. But it's going to cost you less than buying that $25 whiskey for $100 on a secondary market. So anyways, I digress. So let me finish this up. Let me look at this bottle one more time and show it to you. Cooper's, I'd never heard of it before, and I didn't realize what it was when I agreed to buy it. But the truth is, it isn't bad. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey at 100 proof. It isn't really a distillery, but the truth is it really isn't a bad whiskey. I like that it really showcases the barrel and the barrel notes. I'm a big fan of that. So here you go. I'm Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom and I'm also Tom the Beer Whisperer. And here's what I got here. The Culper Spy Ring from Winoka Brewing out of Wisconsin. I love what these guys do. They're doing some great beer, and they're doing a great service for folks. They're a company you can believe in. So here you go. Once again, one more time with feeling. I am one more time with feeling. Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guy. Cilantro. Cheese biscuits and gravy. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for tuning in.